So, recently with the Game of the Year nominations for Game Awards 2024, they've sparked some controversy. I think mostly due to the inclusion of DLC, Shadow of the Earth Tree. Argument is that expansions and remasters should not really compete alongside full standalone titles, suggesting that only entirely new games deserve Game of the Year nominations. And some believe that it undermines the value of original and standalone games. And this is where I think we're not really considering what's important here. What is Game of the Year? What should Game of the Year truly mean? This is what I believe. Game of the Year category is not like other categories. It should not have any prerequisites to what format that content needs to be in to be classified as a contender in Game of the Year. Why? Because Game of the Year category should truly be about celebrating the best gaming experience that year, that was produced that year. The criteria should mostly focus on the impact, the quality, and the innovation of the nominee, regardless of whether it was a standalone title, a DLC, an expansion, a mobile title. It really does not matter. What is the ultimate goal? The ultimate goal needs to honor the best creation in gaming that year, something that resonated with the players and demonstrated the industry's highest achievements. I think about this 10 years, 20 years in the future, when I look back and let's say I want to see what was the best thing that gaming created, that the gaming industry created in 2024. I don't want Shadow of the Earth Tree to be dismissed even as a nominee for Game of the Year because of the format that it was delivered in. I'm not saying that it will win or it needs to win. I'm saying that it makes total sense why it's nominated. And let's talk about Shadow of the Earth Tree specifically just for a minute here. Why is Shadow of the Earth Tree a DLC? I think not have quality, the world building, the playtime, the amount of content. Does it not have all of that equal to a standalone title? Couldn't have FromSoftware just put all of that into a new game? Call it Elden Ring 2, for example. I just released that as Elden Ring 2. Could they have done that? Any person who has played Shadow of the Earth Tree will agree with me here. Almost everyone will agree with me here that it did have the impact, the quality, and the innovation that a standalone AAA title has. So why was it released as a DLC and not as a complete standalone title? That's because of what FromSoftware is as a gaming company, the respect they have for the player base. They don't want cash grabs. They don't copy these formulas that some of the gaming companies recently have, where they just want to fool the player base, where their priority is just to earn money and they don't care about the gaming community. Any person here who has played even one Soulsborne games, a game by FromSoftware, they know exactly what I'm talking about. And for the people who haven't played any game, I would seriously request you to just do some research on your own. Just don't listen to any one or two streamers or content creators. Just do your own research for a bit. Understand what FromSoftware has done in all of these games that they have released and why they have this reputation in the industry. You will seriously respect what they did and how they treat the player base. Should that sort of mindset and that sort of approach that FromSoftware has really be penalized in this way? Should we really say that no, the format that they dropped the content in Shadow of the Earth Tree was a DLC and therefore Game of the Year needs to have a prerequisite of a standalone game. So no, you don't qualify. Does that really make sense? Is that really fair? So most people will agree on this, that they could have released it as a standalone title. Most people would happily accept the fact that now it's nominated as Game of the Year. The same content, the same world, the same experience, just I think the format that it was delivered in, and probably taking more of our money. Because let's be honest, if it was delivered as a sequel or as a new game, it would have cost more than $40 because that's what the quality of the game was. And most people, including myself, would have paid it. I think that, when I think about that, it just doesn't seem right to me. That just doesn't seem fair. If we are considering what should be considered as a game be eligible and therefore be nominated for Game of the Year, I think we're just pushing for this agenda that gaming companies don't need to do their best on DLCs and expansions. I know some arguments are that there are different DLCs that haven't been nominated and why only Shadow of the Earth Tree? I don't know. I haven't played all of the DLCs. I play Shadow of the Earth 3 and I can assure you that it does stand and can rival any AAA title that have released this year. I think in terms of the impact, the quality and the innovation and just what it produced and the experience that it provided for the players. But yes, other DLCs could be just as impactful and they should also be nominated. That's not my point. I'm not saying that only Shadow of the Earth 3 should be nominated. I'm saying that the format should not matter. We need to understand that the ultimate goal for Game of the Year category should be to honor the best creation in gaming industry that year. That is my entire point. A game's format should never overshadow the experience that it delivers. And Shadow of the Earth 3 has provided an unparalleled experience. It arguably deserves more recognition than most of the traditional AAA titles that were released this year. At the end of the day, gaming is an art form, and the Game of the Year category should celebrate the artistical and technical achievements, not confine itself to these outdated definitions of what qualifies as a game. In a nutshell, I guess this is what I'm trying to say. This is one approach that we can adapt to judge this whole scenario. Is the DLC substantial enough to stand alongside full games? I think the Earth 3, the answer is yes. Most people would agree with me on this, that the answer is yes. Does it deliver a transformative experience that goes beyond extra content? Yes. Again, most people that have played the game will agree with me on this. If the Game of the Year's category's goal is to celebrate the best gaming experience, the focus should be on what it delivers, the player experience that it is delivered, and not the format that it came in. DLCs, expansions, non-traditional content should absolutely be eligible if they push the boundaries of what gaming can achieve. Excellence of that content should always transcend the format that it's delivered in.